but we still don't know the most important things. How are we making progress or not on the key issues that we're facing, that Buzz referred to? Are we leaving the world a better place for our children? Is our nation leaving the world a better place for its activities? Can we get through this next century without a greater sense of collective accountability? For institutions, our sectors, or our societies? How can we continue to overspend on cures and underspend on prevention? How can we be more proactive, less reactive? So I'm intensely excited here as a leader, as a citizen, as a parent, about some of these new tools of information technology and citizen engagement that can help us at the local, at the national, at the global level gain more empowerment, have a grasp over where we're going and how to get there. As leaders, we have to ask ourselves the following question. How can we marshal our constituencies and scale our solutions and results if our stakeholder networks don't have a shared quantitative frame of reference for both reporting, activities, and resource allocations and results? As citizens, how can we work together? How can we talk with our fellow citizens about solving problems and what really needs to change, and enlist and sustain their contributions over time? And as parents, how are you and I going to look our children in the eye and say that we know for a fact that we're leaving this world a better place for them? In my view, the 21st century is going to be about numbers, about data, about measures, and about facing crucial facts. Thousands, not just one or two, of convenient and inconvenient truths. Leadership is going to demand new levels of numeracy and accountability. Citizenship is going to demand new levels of numeracy and accountability. And stewardship of the future generations is going to demand new levels of numeracy and accountability. When we measure, we specify what's most important to us. And behind every one of those numbers are people and stories. Tears or smiles, a suffering child, a struggling family, a mouth to feed, someone who needs a job, a doctor's visit to pay for. The bottom line is the stakes are too high, time is too short, resources are too scarce, the consequences of failure are too significant for us not to be specific as a society, as a sector, as institutions. We need to know which needles are going to move by when and whether they're moving or not. And we cannot assume good governance. If there's one thing we've seen in the last 6 months, we cannot assume good governance. We have to create it. So to do that, I believe one key element is creating a shared factual frame of reference. GuideStar is a great example of this for our institutions. I also believe we need one for our society. You don't have to believe that just by putting data up on the web, people are going to make decisions. What you need to believe is that just making decisions with a quantitative shared frame of reference is better than without one. One of the central elements of the American presidential election, which we just had, was the right track, wrong track polls. And I don't know whether many of you followed these, but there were historic lows in the number of Americans that felt the country was on the wrong track. I don't believe we're on the right track or on the wrong track. I'm an American that believes we don't even know what the right track is. And what I'm going to do today is outline for you what a new shared frame of reference might look like. Whether you're looking at issues, and there are many people in this room that are focused on particular issues, education or health or disease. Whether you're looking at a particular area of the world, a region, a nation, an ecosystem, or a neighborhood. Whether you're looking at a particular demographic group. There are people here that work on youth issues, on aging issues, on children, on minorities. Or if you're focused on a particular point in time, a crisis, or a long-term strategy. I represent a group of leaders and citizens at institutions in our country that have concerns about where we're going. And my story about why this is so important right now is that in the United States, we face a situation which can be best expressed by what a senator, a very, very senior senator in the United States Congress told me 2 months ago. We used to be able to debate whether the glass was half empty or half full. Now we don't even know where the glass is anymore. Now a little bit of show and tell. This is just one lens to look at the emerging world of tools that are developing on the web for citizen engagement. It's an ambitious vision. Our timing is to plan to launch this sometime next year. We've been preparing and building for this for several years now. You're looking at a demonstration site. It's not live on the web. It's live. There are live data sets. We use this as a place to experiment with whole varieties of data sets from different data providers, to experiment with different user experience designs, to test different technologies. And as I go through the State of USA today, what I don't want you to think is that I'm just telling you about the State of USA. What I'd like to use this as a vehicle to talk about the variety of technologies, methods, data sources, and design approaches that are developing on the web. And this is just our view of it, but you'll see a whole variety of these in what is effectively our laboratory for doing this work. And what I'm going to do is go through 3 sets of stories or scenarios about how data and information can be used in this developing 21st century world. One set of stories is focused around how civil society leaders are starting to use these technology and tools to tackle specific issues. And I'll go through some examples in the education and workforce arena and youth, some examples in health, and some examples in the economy, where the foundations and the civil society organizations that we're working with are coming together to try to establish shared quantitative frames of reference. I'll tell you what I think that means. The second set of stories I'm going to go through are how citizens are getting more engaged in using these tools, both at the county, region, provincial, city, state, and national and global levels.